Hey guys, thank you for joining me today on Instinctive Addiction Archery. I'm Jeff Phillips. So glad you could join me for this one today. It's going to be a cool video. We're going to deal with a couple of issues that we ran up on this week. As a matter of fact, I had a guy over yesterday that I spent some time coaching yesterday and worked with him for a good while, and he's dead on. He's very, very happy at the moment because he's shooting excellent. But guys, it did not start that way. It didn't. Now, this fella just came over from shooting a compound bow all of his life. Decided he wanted to pick up traditional, so we ordered him a new recurve. We got everything set up. Well, then it come to the actual shooting part, and he wanted to shoot instinctive, okay? And as it started out, guys, he consistently grouped low. He had very tight groups, so he had repetitive form right off the bat. He had the hand-eye coordination, but he was grouping extremely low. And I began to notice as he went through his shot process what was going on. And number one, he had an extremely high anchor point, okay? And his high anchor point was more or less causing him to shoot low, all right? So we did a little bit of work on his anchor, which, guys, that is the most important thing of it all. Your anchor controls everything. Remember when I shared with you, and we're going to do some shooting, guys. I'm going to show you what's up. But remember when I shared with you in the video about instinctive aiming, how just like looking down a barrel of a gun, when you move the stock, it changes your point of impact. If you were shooting, say, a rifle with iron sights or a shotgun, whatever the case is, when you move that stock, well, it moves the front of the barrel. Well, your arrow is the same way. When you're at full draw, how tight you come in with your anchor determines how far you hit right or left, okay? Because I've had a lot of guys that have consistently asked me, Jeff, why, even with a perfectly tuned arrow that really bare shaft's perfect, why do I consistently shoot left? Most of the time, guys, it's in the grip or it's in the anchor. It's not getting in tight enough into the face and getting your head into the shot, so to speak. In other words, if you have a loose anchor point, it's going to be out from your face and it's going to cause left impact on your target. Whereas if you bring it in, if you come in and bring it in, it will move it over to the right, okay? So I'm gonna show you just a couple of shots here of how I typically do and explain to you what is so important about your anchor and your bow arm. That was the second problem that we addressed, and probably the most important with this new shooter. He was used to shooting a compound bow, drawing the bow, coming in, pulling a trigger, and more or less having his head up, watching where that arrow went, okay? And as I shared with him, it's totally not so with a trad bow. You've got to get your head into it. Your head has got to get into the shot, basically. And he was a 3-under shooter. That's how he preferred to shoot, but that doesn't make any difference at all. I shared with him that you have to come into your draw. You have to get that bow up there relatively where it needs to be. Naturally, you will adapt to how to elevate your bow based on what your arrow trajectory is, how your bow shoots, and where it needs to be. You'll learn that really quick. So as we worked, he picked that up really fast, and he naturally started just elevating a little bit. Then come to find out, he dealt with target panic, a really rough form of target panic in the past that just would not let him bring his shooting arm up. It just wouldn't. He said like it had a 1,000-pound weight on his arm. Like when he would come to full draw with this compound, sometimes it would come down below the target and just could not get it up, couldn't get that sight up. He even experienced it on a turkey hunt. Really, guys, a turkey hunt with a shotgun. Pulled up on the bird, had the sight bead below the bird, and just could not get it up on him. That is target panic all day long. Okay, it's terrible, guys, it's terrible. So how we solved it for him was I explained to him, when you get ready to shoot, get your arm up there, get it up. Now I'm demonstrating the 3-under shot that he did. Get it up, get it where you think it's gonna need to be. Get your head into it already. Stare the spot down, come into your anchor, and shoot the shot. Don't move the bow arm. Don't drop it. Don't look to see where your arrow is going. Keep your head in it till the arrow is in the target. That's what you got to do. Problem solved. When he left, he was dead on. Now, I mean, he was shooting very good. So, little simple things like that make all the difference in the world. So, I'm going to show you again how I do it. My process is very simple. It's not like a lot of people's, but it works. It works for me. Anyway, if I am going to shoot something, it doesn't matter what it is, I simply look at my spot. I stare at it. I get my bow up. I get it in line of about where I think it needs to be, and that's only from instinctive learning how to elevate your bow. I come into my draw, and when I get to anchor and I feel my anchor touch and my back tension do its thing, when I feel my shoulder blades come together, it's gone. Just like that. I don't move. And my arrow goes where I'm looking. Okay, so like I said, guys, it's a different way. May not be the way you shoot. May not be the way anybody else shoots. It's how I shoot, and it works for me. So whether you choose to hold the bow for a long time and aim, or really focus, that is great, as long as you don't develop target panic and start moving around and making mistakes and thinking too much about the shot. You don't want to do that, guys. Don't think about anything except where you want that arrow to go. All right, I'm going to shoot a couple of times for you to demonstrate my process of how simple and easy it really is, and why it is so critical to see the shot through, to anchor in the same place and not drop your bow arm. Keep your head in the shot and follow through with it. Look where you want that arrow to go, and don't do anything until the arrow is in the target. You got to stick with it and see that shot through. Yeah, you just something you got to do, guys. You just got to do that. Dead on. This is my hunting bow, by the way. I've been shooting my hunting bow because it's so close to season opening. 48-pound bow. Big dead buck. I don't take long to make my shot, I guess, if you notice. No, I don't. I look at what I want to shoot and I just shoot it. I don't think about much of anything. But it's through repetition. It's just through repetition and practice. I would say that the focus is probably 99% of my shot process. The rest is just not dropping my bow arm, not plucking the string, making sure I come into my anchor and actually hit my anchor and not short drawing the bow or plucking it, throwing that shot away, collapsing or something like that. The bow arm and the release are the two most critical factors in a shot, period. They are. Even if you hold the bow a long time, I know lots of guys that they aim for, seems like endless time. I mean, they will draw, and you know, they're aiming, and they will aim and aim and aim and aim, and sometimes right at the last second something happens and they collapse and it just blows that shot. I don't hold that long because I don't want to get to thinking about too many things in my shot. When I'm honed in on where I want my arrow to go, I never take my focus off of that, and I simply draw that bow, come into my anchor, and shoot it. That's it. That's all I do, guys. I'm gonna see if I can hit that little ping pong ball. That's gonna be a tough one. That little ping pong ball right there it's on a shaft. That's gonna be a tough one. We'll see if I can hit it. Just focusing on something little, or at least how close I can get. Ooh, I'm touching it. I'm touching it right on the top of it. Just like that. That's what I'm talking about. Focus on the smallest thing you can. My eyes were glued to that little ping pong ball, nothing else. I simply never took my focus off of it. Drew the bow, come into anchor, and shot it, and didn't move, and bam, there it is. That's what I'm talking about. The smaller of an item that you can focus on, the better off you are. I know it's hard to do in low light hunting situations. When it's almost dark, it's very hard to see a very, very small spot. I understand that. And that's just a decision you have to make, whether it's too late to make a shot or not. You know, I like to kind of cut things off when I can no longer determine a very specific place that I want my arrow to go on a live deer. I've had many come out right at dark, and I just didn't take the shot because all I could see was an image of a body. It's just too risky. It just is, and unfortunately that's when a lot of the biggest ones move. They just do. So all it does is make me want to set up in a different spot, get back a little closer to where they come from, and get me a little more daylight where hopefully I can get that shot. But guys, that's what I wanted to bring to you today. From the time I spent with this guy and the vast improvement that we experienced with him simply by holding up his bow arm and coming to a consistent anchor that made the arrow hit where he was looking. Now where I'm getting it with this, guys, this is very important. When he first started, he was looking at a spot on a target, but his arrows were consistently hitting lower. So just because your eye is looking at something does not mean that that's where that arrow is going to go. Why? Because it just didn't work. Even though the bow was tuned, the arrows were flying great, all that, it didn't work because he had a high anchor point. And where he was looking, it just was not impacting. All he had to do was drop down a little bit with his anchor and learn to keep his bow arm up, and bam, he was dead on. That's all it was, guys. So it was a great experience for me. I enjoyed it, and I'm always happy when somebody moves over from the compound hunting world to shooting a recurve and they get excited and they're ready to hunt. They're just excited because they are shooting well. He also shot out of my tree stand. Spent some time shooting out of the stand, and he was killing everything he shot. I mean, literally putting really good shots out of a tree stand. First time he's ever shot a recurve out of a tree. And he did really well. So I was very, very happy for him. Very, very happy. So guys, thank you for joining me on Instinctive Addiction Archery. If you have questions about anything we've shared today, put them in the comment box. I'll be glad to get to you as soon as I possibly can. Staying super busy right now, definitely getting ready to hunt and getting everything set up and ready. And guys, it won't be long. Lots of guys are already getting to go. But we have a long season. We've got plenty of time. And I just wanted to bring some things to you that I've dealt with lately that you might be struggling with, and hopefully this will help you if you are. Thank you for joining me today, and I pray as always, God bless you, and I thank you for everything that you do for me, and I look forward to bringing you more good video content. Goodbye.